Every now and then, I like to come outside when the lights are going, lie down in the dead and crispy grass, listen to the crickets chirping nearby, hoping they don't crawl on me while I'm laying here, and just look up at the lights and enjoy them, silently and by myself. As my mind wanders over what I'm going to add to the display next year, I hear a dog, off in the distance, barking to his buddy a few yards away. Or maybe he's yelling at humans to get off his lawn. It's very relaxing. And if you listen very carefully, you can just make out the high-pitched whine of a motorcycle engine as a young man dangerously merges with traffic on the freeway a few blocks away. And if I'm lucky, I might just doze off for a few moments for some of the best sleep I've ever had, until the flight path of a large jumbo jet takes it directly over my house. Hi, welcome to Can I Spader Christmas. Well, there's a lot of, it's this time of year where a lot of new people are coming on board, so welcome if you are new to the channel. We do have a lot of resources for you to look into if, you're just getting started this year, you want to get something going. It's a little late for that, but there is a video that I have in the beginner playlist, Keith's video. I think he did it last year, year before last, that kind of talks about setting expectations for this year. Really, you want to give yourself some time to figure this stuff out. It's just because there's a lot to learn about pixels your first year. Once you get it, it's kind of like, okay, no big deal, but there's a lot to learn your first year. So just know that going in. I encourage you to check in with either the forums or Facebook groups to kind of get to know everybody, kind of pick ideas from other people. That everybody's posting pictures and things in there. If you do have a display that you're setting up this year, and even if it's your first year, or you've been doing it a while and you just have a question, the X-Lights Zoom room, go see xlights.org. And so every Wednesday night they have some kind of presentation about the lighting community. And it could be related to audio, could be just, how to design your display or anything, could be anything, but it's usually related something to lighting. And so they have that call every Wednesday night. Well, this time of year, people run into trouble. Something happens. I don't know how to do this, and it's usually a simple answer. So somebody will be in the X-Light Zoom room. I say most of the time. I don't say all the time, but generally there will be somebody in there hanging out, just chit-chatting back and forth. And so if you have a question, log into that, ask your question, and you can get help live. Or if you just want to, log in and hang out, you can do that too. For this video, I set up my MEGATREE, and I had some stuff that I had to do, so I'm adding a star to it this year. So that means I had to modify the tree topper. Adding a star also means that I had to modify the controller box, the thing that had the power supply and the differential receiver in it. And then also, because I added the star, I'm going to guy the tree this year. Because we do get windstorms about this time of year, and I think with this, it was probably pretty close to coming, toppling over with my current anchoring system, and I feel like guying it down with, now that it's got the star, big sail, the guy wires will be needed for this year. So I'm adding guy wires too. So the first thing I started working on was the tree topper, and here's that video. So this is the tree topper that I made. So underneath it screws, it screws onto the pole that is sticking up with this thing, this coupler. And looks like I need to do a little corrosion control there. Maybe add a little touch-up paint. It's a 1/4-inch piece of steel plate, and then I just drilled holes and put bolts in here. And so you put the strip. Do I have a piece of strip? So you have a piece of strip, and it hangs over the side like that. And so that's how all the lights for the MEGATREE are currently set up. But this year I have to add a star, and so I got a piece of 1/2 inch, what is this, 24-inch pipe. I do need to measure that. I think that will be enough. And then I need this little coupler to go on top, and then this will screw on the top, and then I think all that will work. And I just put the star there, and then I'll have to anchor it to keep it from going back and forth. But so that's the plan. Now here's the issue. So these 4 bolts are holding on this one at the bottom, and the one on the bottom is a little bit bigger. So I have this that will probably line up pretty well, but I'm going to have to cut these little things out, or at least that's the plan. Now, one thing you might have noticed about that is I didn't get all the black paint off the original, the pipe that I added to the tree this year. That paint used to come off a lot easier, so they've changed something. I don't know what it is. All right, so now that that is drying, I'm going to work on the controller box. All right, for the power supply screws, years ago I got some M4 by 0.7 by 8 millimeter. Those are fine for really thin stuff. I'd probably like to get some that are a little bit longer. You know, just personal preference, just to go through some things. But these will work for what we're using it for. I got some of those little angle brackets from the hardware store, and I'll just attach them to the side of the power supply with those M4s, and then screw it to the board here. All right, for this one, I am going to be doing a bunch of power injections. So I got one of these Blue Sea fuse blocks from Amazon, and I'll put a link below. And basically what you do is you come in here with the negative, it's marked. Come in here with the positive, it's also marked. See, these, I'll probably just put 5 amp fuses on here to begin with. You just stick those in there. So now that fuse hooks up this this terminal with the positives. So I've got 6 positives and 6 negatives. That's why I kind of like this one. Doesn't just do the positive side. And so basically you come out of the power supply with 1 connection, and now you can hook up 6 additional power injection connections. Now I also have these differential receivers. I'm going to use one of each. I've got a smart one and a dumb one, and so they'll be driven directly off the power supplies. You can't see that one. So one off of this power supply, one off that power supply. So I will be getting power to the strings from these boards, but for any power injection, especially from this power supply, because I know I need it for the tree, I'll go through this box for the power injection. And so all those lines are fused. Everybody asks, you know, how do you do power injection? It's really not that complicated. Just make sure, since you're going directly to the strings from the power supply, always figure out some way to get a fuse in line there, so that it just, you know, just so it doesn't, you know, any shorts or something, it's protected. So that's why we do that, and this is the one I'm going to try this year. Now there's several of these out there. Here's another one from Amazon. It's pretty much the same. It's just not from Blue Sea, and I kind of like some of the Blue Sea products, but this is a similar deal. You got positive and negative. This is the negative side. These are the positives. And it has some little indicator lights, I guess, if the fuse is blown. So you may like that. I'll put a link to that down in the description. But the Blue Sea stuff I've used in other areas. They're probably a little more expensive, but they have always seemed to work really well. I'm not saying this one won't. I'm just saying I have experience with Blue Sea products. Another thing that I've done in the past is brought in like some of these cable glands. So that's it. It just, you know, you punch a hole in the side and screw this in the side like that, and then it's got, can you see it? It's got, you know, the hole for your cables to go through, and then you just tighten it up, and it tightens up the cables. The only downside of that is you have to put pigtails on everything, and then you can't remove this later. So this year I'm just going to leave this open. I'll probably put it inside of like a plastic bag or something, just to make sure rain doesn't get through it. The top does have this little rubber seal all the way around, so it does, you know, when you close it up, it does kind of seal up. For this time, I'm just going to leave the top kind of open, run the cables over the side here, and put this whole thing in a plastic bag to see how that works. All right, this is the completed board. Now I've got 5 amp fuses, 10 amp fuses, and 15 amp fuses in here just for, you know, to show you all the fuses. I'll probably replace them all with 5 amp fuses because I think that'll be enough. May need to use 10 amp fuses, but I've got both of those. But anyway, let's take a quick tour of this board. So this is the mains power coming in, and what I did was I just shaved some of the insulation off of this so that I could wrap it around these terminals and then go to that next power supply. This is a 12 volt power supply. It will be powering the MEGATRee. The MEGATRee does use power injection because each line, I got 4 lines of 300. So I've got plus and minus going to the differential receiver for this one, and then I've got power injection feeding into here. So I got a negative line and a positive line, and then I'll just hook up the power injection off of these two. So moving up. So then I just have a standard differential receiver for this one. So this will be for the MEGATRee. And then we have another, let me get all that in there, another power supply and differential receiver that is in normal mode for the 4 trees that are going to be out front. And same thing, so I put some tape over the mains voltage. I just have voltage going out to the differential receiver, and then we'll, you know, come off of there for the pixels. I will need to run 2 lines, one for each differential receiver. Can't daisy chain this because I'm coming off of 2 ports of the F48. And we'll do some voltage checks real quick. So this should be plus and this should be minus. Okay, that looks good. All these should be the same, but that just tells me all the fuses are working. Excellent. We got power here, and we got power here. So looks like we're ready to roll. All right, got the controller box done. It's a little dark out. I still want to set the tree up. I set up a camera. It's got night vision or whatever. So here's me setting up the tree in the dark. Now that I have set the tree up in the dark, I probably won't do that again because you just kind of need to see some things, and it was kind of a pain. But I'm glad it's up. So I wanted to create guy wires for the top for the tree itself, but how do you know how long to make them? So I chose the easy way to do it, which was to measure how tall the tree was, and then come out that same distance. So a squared and b squared are the same size, roughly. Not not millimeter accuracy, but you know, close enough. Then, so you got this one and you got this one. That's a 90-degree angle right there. And then so this is going to be roughly 45 degrees, and so is this one. So you can use the Pythagorean theorem. So it's a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. And so you take the square root of that to get your length. I think I did the calculation correctly. So I think it turned out pretty well. I'm happy with it. It seems to have weathered a storm already, so I'm going to say we're a go. Still have some things to set up next week. Next week is Thanksgiving. The day after Thanksgiving is the first show day, so I have a lot of work to do between now and then, and I'll film as much of that as I can. But we're going. I don't have a whole lot to do. I've got to build some mini trees, and I'm going to work on a holder for the candy canes. I don't like the way I've got those mounted. They never stay pointed in the right direction, so I want to fix that this year if I can. I've come up with an idea. We'll see how that works out. But everything else is up and running, and so I'm feeling pretty good about it. As always, if you have any questions, you can leave them below. Other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Now, I shot an email. So I got 6 of these, and so I got 5 of these. I am your father.